Heidi, how everyone? I am here. Sorry, I'm just a little bit late logging in. It's been one of those days, and finally I am here. So, welcome aboard. Happy new trading week to you, or happy new week to you. Let's hope it's a good one, huh? This one's Monday, of course, trying to get enthused about markets. I think there's a public or a bank holiday in the States today, is there not? I think that's the case. We'll catch up with that a little bit later. I'm just having a look at my Forex factory here. I'll share that with you. But I'm pretty sure that's the case. Yes, there is also in China. Not that that makes a whole lot of difference to this session. But that's what we're looking at. And tomorrow, of course, is the same. And those of you celebrating Chinese New Year, then I hope you're having a wonderful time and spending some of that with your family and having some quality time with them. That would be wonderful. Righto, I'm not going to stick here. We'll come back to that a little bit later, I'm sure. We will go straight to the breakout scenario and see what we can find today. Hourly chart's going to be this bar here, isn't it? Because even the last 5 bars, even the last 6 bars, 5 bars, you'd be still trading. Oh no, that's the 5th bar there. But we'll be trading the breakout of that bar because it is the high of the 3 bars that we're trying to break out of, and it is also the low of the 3 bars that we're trying to break out of. Can't do anything in terms of setting the trade yet because we're bang on the top of, or the high of this candle, which looks to be fairly imposing, one would suggest, certainly in the context of the day thus far. Although there has been a little bit of a pound rally, as you can see. I think that might be interesting as the day goes on because it will make it very, very difficult to trade it long. We have come 65 pips already. We'll have a look at that in terms of whether that's acceptable to the market in recent times or otherwise. I can put the short order in terms of the entry anyway. 1.3883 is the low. We will go 1.3882. That will be our entry. Can't tell you what the stop loss is going to be because that candle hasn't closed. If it doesn't go any higher, then we can anticipate that the high of that candle is, hang on a second, am I being told fibs here? High of that candle is 1.3909, so we go to 1.3910 at the moment, that is, as our stop loss. 1.3910. If it actually surpasses the high, then of course we'll have to change that. Okay, if that were to be the case, we've got a risk of 28 pips, and for that reason we would use 14 as our first take profit, which would bring us in at 1.3864. 68, 1.3868. That would be TP1 as it stands at the moment. As I say, that could change. Our TP2 would be double the risk, and the risk, of course, was 28 pips. We'll go 56, which brings us in at 1.3826. Okay, so at the moment, that's the sell order, and the buy would be exactly the reverse of that. So the entry would be 1.3910, the stop loss would be 1.3882, and we'd have to work out our take profits based on, again, half of the risk being TP1 and double the risk being TP2. All right, looks like that is going to be the order with only 25 seconds to go. So I'll actually put that in there as well. 1.3910 for the buy. Sometimes you've got to be quick with this, guys, because it can go fast. Stop loss 1.3882. TP1 will be half of that, which I think I said was 14 pips, did I not? Which will bring us in at 1.3924. and TP2 will be double the risk, which is 56 pips, and that will bring us in at 1.3966. All right, pretty sure they're right. Let's place the order. Now, again, I know I say this every day. For those of you who are in every day, my apologies for that. But it is important for those of you who are just joining us for the first time. This is a test system of trading. Okay, no problem, Angel. All good. Yes, I will do that. 2 seconds. I've just got to sort Angel's issue out here, and then we will be back on the job here. Okay, so that should now be done. Happy days. All right, so back to where we were. I'll place this order. And again, those of you here for the first time, what we're trying to do here is get the breakout of the last 3 bars prior to London Open, right? In this case, the 3 bars are covered by that 1 bar. So we're trading long above it and we're trading short below it. Whichever one is triggered, we will cancel the other and we'll go from there. So the first one, we've got to place the buy order first by the look of it. So the whole point of me telling you that this is test strategy or system is that you shouldn't be putting any meaningful money on it, right? Until we say go and the system is proven. That is not a good idea. 3910. And the stop loss 1.3882. All right, so the long is in place. Now we'll place the short, which again, as I said, will be the reverse of this, or what we've just placed, 1.3882. And stop loss 1.3910. There we go. Happy days. Now, guys, when, well, we should get triggered into this in this session, but if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. So here's what we do. When we get to TP1, which if we're going long would be at 1.3924, which is right on there. And if we're going short, TP1 would be 1.3868, which is there. And when we hit either of those levels, we take half of the position off the table. So we bank half of what we've got. And we move our stop loss the same amount of pips that we took at first take profits above or below entry or from entry. So if we're going long and we hit TP1, which is 14 pips, we would then move our stop loss 14 pips below our entry, making that a free trade because we've taken half off the table. Okay, I think you should all be up to speed with that. And those of you who have been here for a long time will be completely bored at this stage. You can switch back on now, guys. Righto. Now, interesting, because we didn't have a Sunday show yesterday because of Chinese New Year, I haven't done anything. Haven't done jack. All I did this morning was have a look at the current trades that we're in. I'll update those for you now. And that's it. I haven't done anything else. So what I will do when I finish having yak with Ash, I will go through exactly how I set up my week, which may or may not be of interest to you, but at least it'll give you some idea as to why I come to the watch list that I come to and the conclusions that I come to, and why I've got such a small selection of currencies down here or currency pairs down here. It's all because I eliminate most of them. So let's do what? Where were we going from here? We were going to have a look at the trades that we were in, right? Three trades last week from me. CAD Swissy was a sell, 69.96, which was trading this bar here, right? And what we said at the time was we may well be early here, and we're looking for a lower high in this vicinity. If we didn't get taken in, we'd still trade that lower high. Sadly, we did get taken in, missed TP1, which was down here underneath our candle, and that was taken out for a loss. That doesn't really surprise me, I've got to say. As I said, this was potentially the early entry, and it didn't work out. So I'm still looking for that lower high. Why? Because essentially the setup hasn't changed. We've come to the top of this range. We've come off the top of this range. We're looking to trade it down to the bottom of the range and back to that trend line. And all we need to see is the lower high. So our early entry didn't work on that one. The second trade that we were in, Aussie US dollar. Aussie US dollar is still running, and we have banked here at 77.76, which is pretty much where we're at the moment, 77.78. We have moved our stop loss to a safe place. We're free trading that exactly as I've just described to you on the breakout trade. I think I've got to allow that person in the meeting room in the waiting room. Why can't I see that? iPhone. If that's you in the waiting room, I'm sorry, I need two names. We have been hacked, and what's the word for that thing? I don't know, technically. I can't let you into the room, sadly, until I've got two names. So if you can give me two names, and iPhone is not trolls. Thank you, Angel. iPhone is not two. So sorry, I need names. Otherwise, if I let you in, you could just go berserk. And although you're probably a very nice person and need to be in this room, please give me two names and I'll allow you in, no problem. All right, so what do we do next with Aussie US dollar? Well, nothing really. Going back to how I start my week off, a lot of it's to do with having a look at the dollar index. And the reason I have a look at the dollar index is because it's pretty much the basis of all currencies, and certainly the majors. And that's exactly what this chart represents. It represents the US dollar versus the major currencies, the whole 7 of them. So my bias is generally worked out with this chart in combination with what I see, with what I'll show you in a little bit. At the moment, I think we're in kind of no man's land, but favoring us if we're going long against. Thanks, Mark Dine. I assume it's around that way. There you go, in Lake Flynn. Perfect. So where was I? Right. So this gives me an indication as to where we're going to be in terms of trading with or against the US dollar. And what I see at the moment is pretty much as we had anticipated might happen. It'd be a struggle to get back above this confluence area. Resistance, support, and a nice horizontal level across there gives us that strength of resistance at this point. So until we got above that area, I'm still confident that the US dollar will fall. And for that reason, I'll hang on to anything that's trading long against it. And Aussie US dollar is one of them. And therefore, I have no reason to think we're going to change anything here on the Aussie. In fact, I'm reasonably happy. And if we certainly get through this high, I'd be more than happy because I think this will just keep going. This is pretty much phase 3 in my book of, you could call it phase 4 actually, but I'll call it phase 3. That to me is one phase, that to me is another, and I'm looking for the third phase. And where that goes, well, that white line there is pretty much my target, around about the 80 mark. And if we manage to get there, we'll be smiling because that would be a reasonable trade for us, given that we took what, 43 to 79, 36 pips of risk. And if we're fortunate enough to get the money here, we would have banked, well, we'll probably bank twice by the time we get there, but that'll be 300 odd pips. So, 9-ish to 1. on our risk, and that's why we like this one so much, because I thought it was a reasonable chance to get there. Long way from home, guys. We are a long way from home, but you can see the phases that I'm talking about. That's phase one. That's phase two. We're looking for the third phase up here. That's on Aussie dollar. The third trade that we took last week was dollar Sing short, and where are we? 32.25. We're about 10 pips from taking profit here as well. Again, looking at that US dollar index chart, I think that's in a reasonable position. I would like to get a TP1 very soon. And the reason for that is this is at a crucial level. I think our level that we've got for TP1 is okay, but and the but comes in the form of if we do get, well, no, I'm happy with it. I was going to say we could get a lower low here and then shoot in the opposite direction, and that's entirely possible. But I've really taken that into consideration with this level, because even if that does happen, we'll have TP1 in the bank and it won't cost us anything. So all good. And if you'll note that this chart is pretty much the same as the dollar index. In fact, it's exactly the same as the dollar index. We're underneath this level of confluence, and until we get above it, then I think I'll just stay in that nice bearish position on dollar Sing. Now we've got about 9 pips before our TP1. I'll be keeping my eye on that, and hopefully we'll get some money out of it. Pound hasn't triggered, but looks like it might want to go long and set new highs. Speaking about new highs, there's a wonderful new high that we've got, because we've got a visitor who's here every day. G'day, Ash. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, not too bad, mate. Yeah, interesting that you're looking at the Sing. I was just I was chatting to Charlene on Skype, and she was just mentioning that it's the budget, or she sent me a link anyway that said that there's a budget in Singapore, which I'm never party to sort of some of these budgets that go on. I think about the Swissy as well. I very rarely know. I know when it is in the UK, and you kind of like, it's flagged up quite for pretty much everywhere that when there's a budget in the States. But finding some budgets in some of these lesser known, if you like, currencies, or lesser traded currencies is always tricky. And I wonder whether we might get some movement out the Singapore dollar because of the budget, and it might be a really good intraday trade, but because of that.
Well,
the pound also.
We got into this last week, of course. That I was just going through the trades that we're currently in.
Oh, okay.
So this has been in for what, I don't know, 3 days, 4 days, something like that. And we're looking okay. It looked like we might get our TP1 today. But the only reason I traded this, mate, was pretty much based on what I said last week with the dollar index. Whilst ever we're underneath that resistance level, I thought we could get a fair bit more to the short side.
Yeah.
And I've seen nothing to change my mind, certainly from a fundamental or technical point of view.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I agree with it. Completely agree with you. I think in actual fact, analysing the dollar yesterday, there is a little bit of cooling off, I think, with the numbers. When we saw what happened in January, the dollar looked like, or certainly the United States looked like, it was picking up a bit of pace, but the numbers have been a bit soft so far this month, and I don't know what the ISM is going to be like at the start of March, but that might give us a further clue of really kind of where the US economy is. The pound, interesting for me. You've got a long on the pound because of the breakout trade. I've actually got a short with a pound Aussie, which I can show you.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, I still like the Aussie. The issue, obviously, with the pound is still a little bit to do with the hangover from Brexit. But let's just have a look.
Yeah, show us what you got, mate. How was your weekend, by the way? Good?
Oh, yeah, it was really good, mate. Yeah, really, really good. Didn't get to the beach. It really is. It's a bit warmer today, but it's very, very cold here at the minute. I mean, for me anyway, I don't like anything really below probably 7 degrees, and I start to kind of wonder what I'm living. What's that?
7 degrees in the water. That's cold, man.
No. In the air.
Oh,
I didn't
okay.
go.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't go swimming. Yeah, it's colder than that probably in the water. It certainly feel that way. Um, yeah. So let me just
Challenge
bring up my.
anybody's manhood, that would. Oof.
Yeah, exactly. Here we go. Is my screen. But yeah, it was a good weekend. We had a good weekend. Plenty of films. Oh, actually, mate, I can recommend Beyond the
Oh, can you?
Pines. Yeah, Beyond the Pines for Ryan Gosling. Absolutely brilliant.
Is that a new film, is it?
I don't think it. No, it was not. It's not that new. Well, in fact, it's not new at all. It's quite a few years old. But
Okay.
it was on BBC iPlayer, so we watched it, and yeah, it's really good, really good. Just so many
Nice.
little twists and turns in it. It's a very very good film. Uh,
2012. No, that's not new. Okay, cool.
yeah, 2012. Yeah, yeah. So here we go. This is the pound. Now I'm not going to stay in this long. I've got to stop nice and high up here, but I'm not going to stay in this too long if it starts to break through the 4 hour levels. So you can keep the kind of imaginary stop if you like quite tight, but that's the trend line. It's probably just around about there actually. Not the easiest to find the kind of multiple touches with it. I mean, it might be that it's tucked down a little bit down there, but that starts to get a little bit messy in that area. So is it above? Is it below? It's probably just about below right now. But I'm going to use this area for not necessarily because I think it's a trend line that's holding, but that area is a kind of imaginary stop area. As I say, I've put mine nice and high, but I have put a bit on this one while leaving stops really really high. But if it starts to break and close above these levels, certainly above 179.30, I think it's probably pretty much 178. Yeah, 170, 179.30. I think it's pretty much done at that point, and I may well enter again here, but it really is a fundamental data trade rather than anything else. You know, the setup's okay. When you look at the hourly, the pivots are problematic. And when I took the trade, it was price action was actually below this weekly pivot, and I was looking at the daily pivot, and yes, that it was a bit of a tight squeeze to kind of try and get it through. But I thought if we could get some traction, then we should have some open water. And it might be, that this doesn't really kind of get going till tomorrow. If it's still in this area, it may not get going till tomorrow, because what we might then see is maybe that this daily pivot could move above price. And then we might start to see it come down tomorrow. So anybody looking at a short pound Aussie might want a slightly cleaner setup. Doesn't look like we're going to get much market movement today anyway. It's President's Day, isn't it? So it's all it's all pretty quiet on the Western Front right now. And I'm noticing with stocks, stocks are doing pretty well so far. BP has started finally to pick up for me, which is good. I
was going to ask you.
Yeah.
Just whilst you're not in anything urgent there, have you met Bob the
Yes.
account builder yet? You have.
Yes.
Right. I wonder would he mind coming on?
Oh, mate, that'd be amazing. Yeah, but he trades the US Open, doesn't he?
I don't know. Oh, he does too. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he trades the US Open. Yeah, his approach is fascinating, really, and I think really good for the market open. He's really good on the market open. The UK market isn't quite as good as the US, because the US just has got more options. Really with the UK stocks. You haven't got the thousands of options that you do in the US, because I think he's usually looking for something relatively cheap, so he does get that that genuine explosion, to the upside.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure on the whole he tends to buy rather than sell.
If you're having a chat with him, it might be worth just a little preview anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you can certainly tell us about his approach as well. So that's the pound Aussie. Let's have a look around the grounds as well, mate. There's a bit of oil, which looks like it is continuing to extend to the upside. XTI. This one, at this stage anyway, doesn't look like it's coming back. Maybe a level along here. Yeah, it looks like it's got a little bit further to run to the upside with oil. Checking some of these trend lines out. There might be one along there. Yeah, we're probably just about on top of an important price point here for oil, but there's no indication that anything's happening. And I guess when these things do start to emerge, when price action does approach these areas, it's not necessarily the case that we should just look for the short. What we really want is for some kind of reason to go short, and I think we'll have a bit more room in this area because it is at a high now. That reason hasn't really emerged, so still waiting on oil to maybe start to look well. In fact, let's start to wait and hear whether there's a potential turnaround in oil, but at this stage it continues to cruise to the upside, and I suppose with global expansion kind of back on the cards in some respects, certainly as we talk today. There's no reason for us to suspect that oil's going in the opposite direction. But the pandemic vaccine seems to be helping things out here, mate. You know, the UK is certainly doing
finally some good news.
Yeah, it's doing better. It's doing a lot better because of the vaccine news. You know, it seems to be people are a lot more comfortable right now with the vaccine rollout. But the truth is, nothing has really happened. You know, there hasn't been an announcement of easing of lockdowns. There's, one minister even said, "Don't book your summer holidays," which the airline industry was
right.
spitting feathers about.
Yeah, they'd be over the moon about that, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I mean, and rightly so. I mean, what a stupid thing to say.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
You know, he literally was the only minister, from what I could gather, that was saying it. This wasn't a government directive. This is just sort of like one guy's opinion because another government minister came out and said, "What a load of rubbish," you know. So. Yeah, there's the travel industry is tetchy because of these kind of announcements, but the main takeaway, to my mind, is that nothing is really lifted, and I find the travel industry really interesting because the price point is obviously low in comparison to where we were in 2019. And most of these stock pickers and stock buyers are really buying markets on what's going to happen. Where will they be in 2022? They're not worried about 2021. Where will they be in 2022? Because they don't mind waiting a year to get the price back to where it was in 2019 if they're getting such a huge discount today. But the issue with the airlines is the debt. The amount of debt they're going to have to pay off. I'm not even sure whether they'll be back by 2022 if they are at the price point they were in 2019, I think that'll be overvalued. I think that the amount of debt that they've got to, they've still got to saddle, and also the fact that the industry has not actually factually picked up yet. It's kind of like hearsay that we might be going somewhere.
Speculation, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. There's no there's no meat on the bones when it comes down to what you should do with airlines. So I'm a little bit concerned about the airline companies, and I was looking at some shorts in the airlines, but actually they are doing okay. They're currently doing okay, but I think as good a way as any to play that is with oil. If oil's continuing to move to the upside, if travel's going to be picking up, then you can express it with oil. Certainly, when it comes down to the options we have with these brokers, we can express the expansion in that with other factors with what's going on with oil. But it's going to be a quiet day, mate. It's President's Day. I don't know where looking across the board with some of these currencies, these indices. Nasdaq took another pop to the upside at the end of last week, which I wasn't actually too happy about. I was looking for some downside in the Nasdaq towards the end of last week, but that didn't happen. But it's starting to potentially look a little bit exhaustive up here. Can't tell anything from this indicator because it's just the ATR. But a lot of the indicators are looking a little bit overcooked in this area, looking a little bit overbought. Valuations, who knows really what happens? And I would suggest that everybody watches the bond market. Because the relationship that you're really looking for with the bond market is that right now yields are around about 1.2, I think, on the 10-year. I will double check that. But if the bond market starts to look like 1.16 on the 10-year, if the bond market starts to push more towards 2.5, 3, then the money will potentially start to drift out of stocks because you've got that safety net. You know, if the bond market is paying, if the US Treasuries are paying 2%, you've got that safety net. And some of these valuations at some point just won't be able to yield as much as they probably are. You know, this is still all about growth. Now, this doesn't look like much of a growth area to me. You know, this is very, very high at these points. So then you're looking at dividends. Now, are you going to get the dividend yield if you're paying such high prices for stocks? And if you think you're going to get squeezed on that, then you're much more likely to look at things like treasuries where your money's a little bit safer and you're still going to get that yield. But 1.16 is not value. You know, you're not going to get much kickback from that. But if those bonds start to push closer to 2, and, you know, it sounds like a long way away, but we are starting to push higher with these bond yields. So it's something that we need to keep an eye on just to make sure that we're on the right side of it. But right now, it doesn't look like that the stock market is going to come down heavy. But I'm getting really, really cautious up here. If we look at this this trend line here as well, the upper trend line, if you like, this is where we are, and I wonder whether we might just be kind of edging towards that kind of higher region with a rising wedge. And if this is a pattern, if this is the pattern that we are looking at, rising wedges tend to be bearish. You know, when they break hard, because you are looking, you know, effectively at the measured move of the widest point potentially. And that could lead us right back down, you know, depending on where and when it broke. But that could lead us right back down to these levels down here. I mean, that's not looking like it is on that particular chart. But let's mark this off and have a look what that looks like on the monthly. Yeah, it could come down, you know, maybe 12,000 again with the Nasdaq. I don't think that would be out of the question. Possibly 11. I think with the Nasdaq, I don't think that's out of the question, mate. You know, particularly if you were to look at this as the pattern. Now, I don't know whether that pattern's there, and we won't know unless it starts to drift right back down to this lower line from this particular point. If it breaks through, then maybe the pattern isn't there. But we do have a couple of touches here, so you know, I wonder whether we're at the top end of it. Bit nervous about the stock market, mate.
Yeah, I think it'd be reasonable to look at that. I'd be questioning how far that can go down, though, because,
yeah,
you know, the pandemic hasn't gone away. But even if it does go away, the tech stuff that's been produced and put in place because of the pandemic, I don't think that's going away anytime soon. You know, there's still remote working. There's that many businesses have now gone online where they had a physical presence. I don't think that goes away anytime soon either, because people find it convenient now. It becomes second nature to buy your groceries from the supermarket online, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I don't think tech's going to die anytime.
No,
sudden
I agree with that. I suppose that the argument always is, do the tech stocks have much more in the way of growth to justify continuing to buy here? You know,
I would say no. The answer to that question is no.
Yeah, so that's where, and that's what I'm talking about with the 10-year, you know, or you may be going into growth, you know, you may be sort of like looking at growth stocks or something, because the tech area is no longer really growth, and it's certainly not value. Well, maybe it is got growth. Maybe I'm completely misjudging this. Maybe this has got still further to grow. You know, maybe this goes up even more than it currently is. But it's possible that we are getting to the point where the dividends just will not. Well, in fact, you know, some of them don't even pay dividends, but the projected dividends, when you know, eventually some of them come back and pay, maybe they don't have the headroom anymore to continue to maximize the pandemic situation. And on that as well, does that mean that when the pandemic starts to lift, that people will start to, you know, maybe start to go back to the shops a little bit more, so they are using less online delivery services? You know, does that mean that actually we are starting to get a little bit? Yeah,
less certainly. But not to the degree that this is going to tumble by 50% or 40% or 30%.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, I'm looking for a bit, 10, maybe a 10-20% correction, possibly at best. But this is just to show you the seasonal aspect of this as well. So we are probably around about here when it comes down to the seasonals on the NASDAQ. And the NASDAQ looks like it does start to level off somewhat going into the end of March. Into April. So, and it looks very gentle, and it's interesting, isn't it? You look at many of the other seasonal patterns, and there are big drops. But this is the Nasdaq hardly. There's a tiny blip really on the seasonal chart, and we're looking at only 25 years, so it's not quite as much data as some of the others. But it does look like an easing down during this period. So that's another reason that I wonder whether the Nasdaq might be unwise to continue to add to longs in this particular area. And I don't know what the I've never checked the seasonals after President's Day. I'm guessing that it might even be on this website on Learn to Trade
Well, today would be the third Monday, would it not? And it would also be President's Day, so I would imagine that's true. There'd be a buy signal there somewhere. Well, not a signal. Sorry, history would suggest that the S&P is going long.
Isn't President's Day a bank holiday in the States though?
Yes.
So does that quash the buy signal?
It's a good question, isn't it? I don't know. I don't trade
because it is the S&P, isn't it? I mean, it's not. We're not talking about S&P futures or some kind of ETF. We're talking about the S&P.
Yeah.
Tending to rally on the third. To buy as giving us a buy on the third Monday of every month. Now, if the S&P is closed, I would suspect that doesn't then pass on to Tuesday. I think that it's just that you just miss out on the month.
Yeah, look, you'd have to ask someone on a different pay grade than me, mate. I don't know.
Yeah,
I really don't.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you on that. So it's going to be quiet anyway, mates. And do you know the other one that I'm quite interested as well is the pound yen. And again for downside, looks like a silly thing to say. Well, we see the pound rocking to the upside, but the pound yen for some downside. I think the pound yen could be also hitting an interesting area of potential resistance here. Now it's just popped its way through. Actually, let's do it like this. Let's do it like this. Just so I can find out exactly where this one is. There we go. Yeah, it's just popped its way through. But this is monthly resistance, and I wonder whether we remain up here by the close of the month, or whether this does start to actually come down. Certainly looks like it's tested week over week, so it might well aim up there. But the other thing with this is that I wonder whether there might be another test, at least of this area down here, because markets do tend to get a bit of a bloody nose when it's first trying to get through a significant level. So I wonder whether we might just get a little bit more downside. Now, when I'm talking about this, I'm actually talking for the week. So I'm not looking for this weekly bar to look like this. I wonder whether we might end up at the lower end of this bar, and I think that could be of interest as well. But as I say, looks a bit silly to say that right now. But what I would do if I'm going to trade the pound yen short, I'd want this pound Aussie to work out, to start to work out in my favor, start to push to the downside. And then I'll go around the grounds and just have a look at the pound, across the board, and see if there are any other opportunities, because I just wonder whether the pound might be getting a little bit ahead of itself up here. Certainly Brexit getting sorted out has helped see us move higher. But the data doesn't look great. I mean, it's one of those, again, that there's speculation really with the UK economy because of the successful rollout of vaccines. But whether that continues again, mate, I just can't hand on heart say that the UK economy is in decent enough shape to carry us through to a genuine rally with the pound.
Makes sense, mate. Makes sense. And you've got limited upside there by the look of that chart as well.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And the yen seems like a silly one really to trade against. Considering that the good spirits and the good feeling that's going on with the market right now. But I think it could be the most interesting, because if we see a signal with the pound starting to turn against the Aussie, then the CAD, then the euro, then the Swissy and the dollar, the yen to me looks like potentially a pretty good option to trade it against as well. So
Yep.
That's what I'm looking at, mate. I'm looking at short pound this week, and specifically against the Aussie. But I think the yen sticking at the back end of the rally, of the relay, I think could be interesting to kind of get the yen on as well right at the end if the Aussie starts going in the right direction.
Well, I hope it does, because we're still in that trading it for free. So if that keeps going, I'd be more than happy. And I think the chart supports that.
Yeah,
certainly the bigger picture, the monthly chart supports a continuing rally. So yeah.
Yeah, you in the pound Aussie still?
No, Aussie dollar.
Aussie dollar, yeah. The Aussie Australia again. Looking at the data from Australia, it still looks pretty good.
Yeah, got unemployment figures coming out. Is it tomorrow or Wednesday? I can't remember.
Yeah, do you know? Now I had a good look at unemployment numbers right across the board, and what I found quite interesting. Thursday for unemployment numbers. What I found quite interesting was that the things like manufacturing, trade balance was a bit of a strange one, even though there was one country, I think it might have been the Euro bloc, or I think it was the Euro bloc, but it might have been the Swissy, where the trade balance was very, very, very much out of kilt. But generally speaking, they were sort of within this range. All of them a little bit negative, but they were kind of sticking within a bit of a range. But manufacturing numbers, production numbers, and retail sales and things like that on the Aussie particularly were looking fairly healthy. But I couldn't find one region where the unemployment numbers seem to reflect positivity, like massive positivity. So. Now, I'm not saying that they're not important numbers.
Okay. But as an indicator, you mean?
Yeah, as an indicator. Yeah, I'm not saying they're not important numbers, but they don't seem to be playing quite as much importance as some of the other things, which suggests that people have possibly found ways to continue. Companies have possibly found ways to continue to function and produce without needing quite as many people, which is a worrying signal.
Well, yeah. If that was the case, though, wouldn't the unemployment rate be spiraling out of control?
Yeah. Yes, yes, it would. I suppose it's more the job that the employment figures don't seem to be improving massively.
Yeah, there was a bit of a funny read on the Kiwi. Was that last week or the week before? I can't remember. Last week, maybe. No, the week before. Their unemployment rate was 4.9%. Amazing number. Yet, and this goes to your point. Yet the Kiwi, you would expect it to rally out its socks off on that news.
Yeah,
didn't do it.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Yeah, I think it is, mate. I think it is. I think unemployment. The unemployment picture at this stage is maybe not quite as significant as some of the others. It will become important, but when you've got retail sales picking up in countries, then it makes you question, how can people be unemployed and retail sales be picking up? Obviously, it does depend on what basket of the retail sales group that they're kind of looking at, but some of the numbers
paper, rice.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
That's not going to inflate those numbers to that degree, though. You wouldn't think. Goodness me.
No, exactly, man. And it looked to me like some of the numbers were a little bit out of sync, and because but the unemployment's as I say, right across. I didn't see any nation that were showing some really strong employment figures. Not unemployment, sorry, employment. That as a kind of whole, I didn't really see anybody that was showing any really strong figures. Yet I saw some quite strong numbers when it came down to some of the manufacturing numbers. So
okay.
So yeah, there was something going on. So all I'm saying is that I wonder how important that unemployment number is going to be from Australia on Thursday.
Time will tell.
I wonder how important the market will see it.
Well, I hope it's a good number, and I hope it rallies like it stocks off, like as I said. But yeah, who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, that would be good, mate. Yeah, yeah. Do you know? I think if it's a good number, the market reacts. But if it's a bad number, I wonder whether it bothers.
Well, yes, because
You know, unless it's absolutely
on
atrocious
relative terms, everyone's in the same boat, and it's the same with the reserve banks at the moment. They're all saying exactly the same thing, and
Yeah.
the QE continues, and we'll do what we can, whatever's in our power to support the economy through this dreadful period. End of story. It's all the same. You want to have a look at how I start my
bit
week?
Of softening in. Oh, let's see it, mate. Yeah, yeah.
Sorry,
bit of softening in some of these cryptos today too. In some of the cryptos, they're a little bit soft today. Yeah, just a little bit. Some of them worse than others. Bitcoin climbed to 50,000. It's now down to 47. Ethereum was at 18 something, maybe even 20. Was it? Where did it get to? 1850 down to around about 1750. So yeah, a little bit of softening. I mean, that's a decent 8% jump down.
How's my Kasama
Show us how
going?
you start your week, though, mate.
Yeah, I
said, I haven't got a clue.
No, I haven't got a clue either. But it's neither here nor there. It's a hold. It's nothing else than that. Okay, so I was telling these guys that I've done absolutely no preparation for trading this week, and I knew it was a bank holiday in the US. I knew that it's Chinese New Year, and I knew we didn't have a show yesterday, so I just done absolutely nothing. So I just thought I'd share with you how I actually go about getting a watch list, and I don't think I'm going to see too much today, to be honest. I go to the weekly chart, which makes sense to me, and then I go. Oh, sorry. Those of you who don't have this particular tool.
We've got my screen, mate. That's all I was going to say.
Share the screen. Right. Okay. Sorry about that.
Christoph saying that Elon approves selling of Dodge. Do you know what? Somebody said something really interesting about Elon Musk over the weekend, and I hadn't really considered it. And I'm not saying that this is what I believe, but they were saying that he is the world's biggest con man. And their point was, which I did think was quite poignant, is that he's the richest man. He's the richest man to have ever been on the planet who has never taken a company profitable. He's never made a profit of a company, which I thought was really interesting.
That is very interesting.
PayPal not profitable, Tesla not profitable. Yeah, and yet it's one of the richest men on the planet. So yeah, just an incredible comment. They were saying, I don't agree. He's a very, very clever guy. I mean, to sort of do what he did, do what he has done, with everything is quite amazing. But I wonder whether he is maybe slightly too much weight is put on what Elon Musk does and thinks.
Well, yeah, everyone's listening, aren't they? That's for sure. Where did he get his cash then? How did he start? Because I don't know anything about him, apart from the fact that
I don't know, mate. He's a clever guy. I mean, PayPal was. I think PayPal was the kind of big one for him. So and he certainly.
How is PayPal not profitable at this point?
He doesn't own it anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then now I understand what you're saying. Different story to what I had.
Yeah.
All right. Too easy. So I was telling these guys that I'd done absolutely no preparation. Here's how I start my week. And those of you who don't have this little tool, which is called a market scanner, it's extremely useful for this particular exercise because it's got all of these little options on it. I only use two of them. One is called inside bar and the other one's called market direction. So what they're doing, they're actually selecting the currency pairs out of whatever's available on the broker that have shown in the past week an inside bar. That's the first thing I'll look at, right? And it gives me a selection of, in this case, this week, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, I don't actually use the inside bar as my selection criteria. What I use is the bar prior to the inside bar in conjunction with the inside bar. And I'll explain that to you in just a tick. So it's giving me these options. What did I say? 8 of them? So I just click on that and it changes my chart. I'm not trying to sell this, by the way. I'm just showing you how I go through the process. And the first one is CAD Swissy. Now, what I'm looking for on the weekly chart is, as I said, I'm looking for what I call a key reversal bar. Now, a key reversal bar is a bar whose, well, in this case, that's last week's bar, right? If the high of that bar had have been higher than the high of this bar, then it could have been a key reversal bar, but it also has to close on or near its low. So that's the inside bar part. That qualifies as an inside bar. The bar prior to that needs to be a key reversal bar. So that is a key reversal bar. Its low is lower than the previous bar's low, and it's closed on or near its high. That is a key reversal bar because its high is higher than the previous bar and it's closed on or near its low. So both of those qualify for key reversal bars. But then you've got to get the inside bar to go next. This is not a key reversal bar because its low is not lower than the previous bar. So I can eliminate that straight away. That's out of my equation. What I may take a look at is the inside bar itself and where it is in conjunction, or sorry, in relation to what I consider to be a structure. The structure here that I see is primarily an ascending triangle. So I'd be probably expecting that to have a little, I don't know, tay-to-tay here with that level, that horizontal level. It may break out. It may not. It might just come back here and trade to the bottom of that area. So I'd be probably interested in that chart, but I wouldn't use it as a watch list for what I'm looking for. I'll just move on to the next one. So again, looking for a key reversal bar followed by an inside bar. That is not a key reversal bar because its high is not higher than the previous bar, although it has closed on or near its low. That is an inside bar and exactly the same as the last one. This is pretty much a descending triangle. So I'd probably have a little bit of a look at that later, but not now. It's not on my watch list for now. Euro pound.
Could you explain your definition of inside bar? I wonder whether people might struggle with.
Sure. Okay, for me, an inside bar has to be completely inside the previous candle, including its low, including its high. So if the high and the low of this candle is inside, or the low, sorry, is higher than the low of the previous bar, and the high is lower than the high of the previous bar, in other words, it's completely contained within that candle, that's an inside bar for me.
Yep.
And there's no, okay, it looks like one. It may be one. No, if it's not, it's not, right? Everything has to be.
So you're looking you're looking for key reversal and then an inside bar.
Yep. For instance, there's one there, right? Key reversal, didn't close on or near its low, got to eliminate it. This one is the key reversal because its high is higher than this one and it's closed on or near its low. But although that looks like an inside bar, it is not an inside bar because the low is outside this low. Now, what I'm actually looking for is something like that, whose high is higher than the previous bar, closed on or near its low, and it's got an inside bar. So I'd trade that bar here, stop loss here, entry here, take profit here, might even take a second profit there, and there's your trade. All over Red Rover. Where's another one?
And why is that significant for you, the inside bar?
Okay.
What's that telling you?
What I'm really looking for is the end of a retracement. So I'm actually looking to trade it with the trend. So the trend has to come into play. And what I mean by the trend is not the current trend, but the primary trend. So pick a primary trend there. Good luck with that. Probably a very, very poor example. But find something that's trending, which I will do as I go through here. Let's just
difficult one to read, isn't it?
Let's go. Go to a better chart. Euro CAD, pretty much the same. Euro pound, also another ranging pair, Euro Kiwi. All right, the primary trend's bearish here. You would have to say that, right? But it's not, again, it's not a great example. I should find a good example for you. It'll make it a whole lot easier. That won't be, that might be. Yeah, there you go. So the primary trend here is definitely bearish, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our weekly chart is telling us that, looking for an example here, and I can't find one. And look, these don't come up every day, right? That's why there's very few on the market scanner. But if I had this candle here, and its low was lower than this one, and it's closed on or near its high, then I got an inside bar, it wouldn't be as appealing to me as if I had a bar like that, which is reversing in the opposite direction with trend, right? So we're looking to trade with trend. So the key reversal is retracement over, going this way with trend again, and the inside bar is just that nice little insurance bar that I'm looking for all the time. Is that starting to make sense?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So you're really looking for the inside bar to suggest that the retracement after the reversal bar is over.
Yes.
So you're really looking for, you're not looking to trade the low of the reversal bar. Well, in some respects you are, but what you really want is a bar that tries again.
Yeah, I'll show you one. We traded this, and we're still in the trade actually. Euro CAD was on the monthly chart, I think, maybe the weekly chart. Isn't it always the case you can't find the bloody thing?
And does it matter what time frame that pattern comes in at?
Well, I start on the weekly chart. I only do it on the weekly and the daily chart, right?
Okay, yeah.
Because it has to have enough time to develop.
Mm-hmm.
And if it hasn't done that, then I don't really want to know about it. But there's a beautiful key reversal bar there that not many would see, because we've got a high that's higher than here, and it has closed near its low, not on its low, but near its low. But it didn't give us, that's the trade that we took actually on the key reversal bar, and we're still in that trade. So I am always, and this is a retracement in my humble opinion, right? So we've come down lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, and then we've retraced on that. Then we got the key reversal on the back of a double top here as well, and it all looks to be going south to me. Primary trend, arguable, yes, but that's exactly what I'm looking for all the time. So going back to where we began, if I find one here, I'll actually point it out to you, and I don't know that I will, but as I said, they don't come up that often, and that's why they're pretty good when they do. So EuroCAD I dismissed because we don't have a key reversal bar. We've got an inside bar, yes, but we don't have a key reversal bar. Euro Kiwi, same. Pound Swiss, same. Kiwi CAD, same. Look, I don't trade gold or silver, but I know there's one on silver. That's exactly what I'm looking for. But
oh yeah, wait, show us that, mate. Is that silver there? Is it okay? Yeah,
that's silver. The only problem is, or I think I can't establish a primary downtrend. I don't think, or can I?
No, that trend is definitely higher, isn't it?
Well, the primary trend. That's more.
Yeah, so I find silver really interesting.
That's more a spike. You could argue that there's a trend line through here. You could argue that. I'll argue that for the sake of the exercise, right? So this is exactly what we're looking for. So we've got key reversal bar and a massive key reversal bar.
Yeah.
And the high is higher than here. It's closed on or near its low. You can't really see its low there. Let me go a bit tighter. But there you can. You can see the low is here. And then you've got an inside bar. Now, I don't trade silver, but it's the only thing that's on my watch list right now. And it's suggesting to me that there's an entry here and a stop loss here. That's what it's suggesting to me. Nice big potential reversal there. And yeah, to call that a retracement, I suppose, is a little bit on the rough side because it's not. I suppose technically you could say there's a lower low there and lower high, lower low, lower high. But yeah, I don't know if that's a retracement. But yeah, look, keep your eye on that. That's exactly what we're looking for. It's arguable if we've got the primary trend in the right direction, however. But I might just, for the sake of the exercise, why not? We'll just place a little trade on that in a minute. So that's it. That's job done. So the only thing that would go on my watch list out of all of that would be silver. But then, just in case I've missed something, yes, Swede, the Batman mask is absolutely possible. Exactly the same as EuroCAD has been, right? So it's definitely worth considering. I then go to a thing called market direction, which is pretty much looking for exactly the same thing. So in case the scanner's missed it there, I would then go there. Now, market direction, I'm not sure what the criteria for market direction is, but my criteria is exactly the same, right? High higher than the previous high, closed on or near its low, or going in the opposite direction. The low lower than its previous, closed on its high. This does not fit that criteria for me because we've got a spinning top sitting there. Doesn't do anything, frankly. Doesn't mean jack. So I wouldn't consider that to be even on my watch list. So there you go. I've got a watch list of 1 so far to add to the ones that I'm still in from last week. Now that will change daily because tomorrow morning I'll go to the daily chart and do exactly the same process. I'll go inside bar. It'll give me Aussie dollar. And it'll look completely different to that, of course, and it'll give me Kiwi yen. That's based on today and yesterday's bar. So then I'll go to market direction, give me the same thing on the daily chart, and I'll use exactly the same criteria to pick out what I want to trade. If they set up, they set up. If they don't, they don't. It's as simple as that. The difference between being on my watch list and being tradable, everything that I just saw that gave me a key reversal bar, which was one I think, goes on my watch list. Everything that gives me a key reversal bar plus an inside bar, I trade. So there's the difference. Okay, so we have got silver. Right, we'll place an order on silver and see how that goes. Again, I don't trade silver, so please bear with me. I've never done this before. There's silver. So I don't know if this can be trusted on silver is what I'm saying. There. And we're looking at the weekly chart and we're going to trade the inside bar on the weekly chart. Okay. So I'll give you the entry level. The entry level will be 26.65. And the stop loss will be at 27.85. Now, I don't even know how to trade this and what that means in terms of risk. So I'll just use a percentage risk here of, that'll do 0.1 of a lot. There you go. That's how much I trust this. So, bear that in mind, guys. But the level's going to be, as I said, 26.65. And the stop loss, 27.85. There we go. We're sorted. So we're short underneath that bar. We've got a stop loss above it, and we'll see how that works out. If we do get the Batman mask suite, we'll be in the money, eh? That'll be cool. All right, mate, that's how I set my week up. And that's pretty much what I'll be looking forward to today. In fact, I won't be trading anymore today. That's it. I'm not interested. But tomorrow I'll use that daily chart to do exactly the same thing. You still with us, Ash? I think Ash might have gone. He is due to go. Yeah, he has gone. Okay, all good. I can hear some noise in the background. I don't know who that is, whose microphone's open, apart from mine. Nobody's anymore, by the look of it. Righto, so I'm going to have a quick look at the pound breakouts, which has taken us in and now sitting in drawdown, doing absolutely nothing as the market goes deadly quiet. The trades that we're in, I'll update. Aussie still doing nothing as well. Dollar Sing, we've still got 10 pips to go before we hit TP1 there. So there's nothing to do. Now, how I will manage this, if I do not see a TP1 here, and pardon me, we come back above this resistance trend line, I will start to think that this is going to turn around. So where's the confluence area? Probably there-ish, the low confluence area, the big one's there. That's the one that we were looking at before. If we don't get a TP1 here and we do close above that level there, I will likely close the trade, which will be just above our entry level. So close, let's say on the 4-hour chart. If it closes, let's say, although we've still got the pivots there. No, I won't do that. I'll trust the pivots to help us. And I'll probably use that level there as get out, which would be 132.65. I will put that in the Telegram group for those of you who are following that. So if we don't get a TP1 and close above that level there, then I will close the trade at slightly worse than break even. Aussie dollar, no need to do anything there. That's free trading now. So we'll just enjoy the ride if we get one. If we don't, we don't. And it's as simple as that. So guys, I really don't have much more to report, to be honest. I think we'll just call it a day, and you guys enjoy what's left of your Chinese New Year, and we'll catch up tomorrow at the very same time. So thank you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.